श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। उकारस्वन्धकारो वैरुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ॐ श्रीभगवानुवाच अनाश्रितः कर्मफलम् कार्यं कर्म करोति यः स सन्न्यासी च योगी च निरग्निर्न चाक्रियः। Ishvara is the samashti. So the Jagat Karanam Brahma is what is called as Ishvara. Vyashti and samashti is what Shastra talks about. Vyashti is individual, samashti is collective. Like one tree is a vyashti, a forest is samashti. Okay. Now if you consider the collective intelligence, that is called Ishvara. Okay, so we need to understand. That's why we don't say it is God who is sitting somewhere. Okay. In our tradition, all that is here is Bhagavan. That's why if you entered the Gurukulam, it's written, all that is here is God. Right? Swamiji says that. And that includes us as well. And that Ishvara is with the Guna. Sagunam Brahma is what is called as Ishvara. But that Ishvara, like we saw yesterday, though the Ishvara, the Saguna Brahma, is something which is important for us to contemplate, to seek help and all that. But the Swarupa of Sagunam Brahma is Nirguna Vastu only. So we will see why that is. But the Saguna Brahma, Ishvara, is what in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan talks about in Vishwarupa. In Vibhuti Yoga and Vishwarupa, he talks about how he is all that is here. In fact, in one of the verses in the earlier chapters, he says, Bhumirapo analo vayu kammano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme vinna prakriti ashtada. My swarupa, my prakriti, my nature is of eightfold. Again, the two types of prakriti he talks about. The evident prakriti is the five bhutas. Five bhuta model is five elemental model. Right? The space, air, fire, water and earth. Okay. So within which all that is here can be modeled. Okay. We actually look at it. Things are either solid or liquid or gases or heat or space. Right. So whatever you see can be bracketed within these five elements. So Bhumihi, Apaha, Analaha, Vayuhu, Kam. These are five elements. Then Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara. These three also he has added. So within this everything is included. That's why this Mahat also, Bhashyakara, this Ahankara, Manas and all that, he takes this as Samashti Manas only there. So if you take in the collective sense, okay, the whole order is Ishvara. That is why we say all the phenomenons. In fact, an Upanishad which says Bishasmat Vatah Pavate. So the wind blows because of whose instance? Okay. So that is a Upalakshana for everything. Okay, fire and all these things. So it means the order, the niyati is seen as Ishvara. And that is Ishvara. Okay, so when you understand Ishvara, Ishvara is all that is here, and how is all that is here is Ishvara is because in the form of the phenomenon, the intelligent order we spoke about yesterday, right? How the sun functions, the earth functions, whatever, right? So we don't even know how many galaxies are there, you know, what is the end of this whole thing, right? And there could be so many life forms everywhere also. So all that intelligence collectively put together is Ishvara. And how do we recognize it? In the form of Niyati, the order. And this order includes karma also. Karma also is order, right? Because when you do this kind of activity, you get this punya. Okay. If you do this, you get this papa. And for this punya, this is the pala you get. Okay. So I am like this because of some papa I did say 3 births back. Who connects those, right? Who is the one that connects that particular activity to that papa or that punya? And then that punya should give this kind of palam. So there should be a conscious order which makes it all happen. So that also is Ishvara. So all these niyati is all Ishvara, and individually, like we saw yesterday, we call one of them as Devata. So for eyesight, like he said, Aditya is the Devata. Then for nose, I think Ashwini Kumara or something. For tongue, it is fire, Agni. Right? Like that, the Devatas are there. And there is a Samashti Ishvara. Okay, so that is the premise, right? We start there. And Bhagavan also clearly has said that this is who I am. Now when we talk about moksha, okay, so finally, like I said yesterday, we are not really worried about what is Ishvara, who am I and all that. What I am seeking is freedom. Okay. So this Bhagavad Gita is Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre is how it is defined. What is this Brahma Vidya? We have to understand, right? So what we are seeking is moksha, whether we know it or not. We say generally there are 4 purusharthas. We haven't spoken about it. Right? There are 4 purusharthas: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So what is artha? Let's start with that. Artha means technically wealth. But actually what you are seeking by artha is security only. Okay. I feel insecure. So I think by possessing wealth, by possessing house, by possessing some properties, I will be secure, safe. So you are actually seeking security there, even though it expresses in the form of wealth. Okay. Now, when we are analyzing all this, it doesn't mean that I am not saying don't have a house but we are just looking at it objectively, right? Artha means that you are seeking security. That means what? That means you inherently, all of us feel we are insecure. Okay? So that is a problem we are addressing. Now whether wealth actually gives you the security you are asking for is something we need to look at. Okay? But we think by holding on to clutches, I will be stable. Okay? So that is how the wealth is being pursued, that is artha. Then kama is seeking pleasures. Okay, so I feel inherently I am unhappy, so I go and watch a movie, I go and look for some recreation. All these things is because I feel I am inherently unhappy, so I am seeking happiness. Okay. Then you have this dharma. Dharma is also looked at in twofold. One is what you do here, you want to do some righteousness so that you can have a self acknowledgement, right? That is also there. And generally, traditionally, when we talk about dharma, it is about afterlife. So where do you go for swarga and whatever? So that is another thing we seek. Now, if you analyze these 3, right? Actually speaking, you are seeking freedom from insecurity. You are seeking freedom from unhappiness. You are actually seeking freedom from your self-indignation and all that, right? Where the dharma or afterlife, again, that is also one form of insecurity, right? So, that is where the 4th one comes, which is actually moksha. So, which is actually freedom from sense of becoming, sense of insecurity, sense of unhappiness and all that is what is called moksha. Now, if you look at all 4, Do you think there are actually 4 pursuits or there is only one pursuit? Technically there is only one pursuit, which is you want freedom. That expresses in the form of sense of insecurity, sense of unhappiness, whatever, right? Without knowing, unknowingly actually you are seeking only freedom from unhappiness, instability and whatever, right? So that is why moksha alone is Purushartha. And that was understood in a sense by Arjuna. Then only Bhagavan starts teaching. He doesn't, see, Arjuna and Krishna had been friends from childhood. Okay. And they would have spent a lot of time together. Right? Krishna never ever spoke to him about Atma and Brahman and all that. Okay. Even in the beginning of Gita, one full chapter Arjuna cries. Okay. Still Bhagavan says something, okay, don't worry, this, that. Finally he says, Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. He says, I am surrendering to you, you alone can teach me this. So he accepted Bhagavan as his guru. Then only Bhagavan starts saying Ashochan and Asochyastam. Till then he didn't talk, years together. That is because only when a person is ready, the person has to consciously recognize that I am seeking a complete freedom. Okay, I am not within the samsara, there is no freedom for me. Because whatever you do, there is a sense of becoming. See, by collecting all the limited things, you are not going to become secure, right? So you will buy one car, then you will need another car. You have 2 cars, you will need an aeroplane, right? You have one model of cell phone, tomorrow there will be another model. So your happiness of acquiring a new iPhone is only for 10 days, right? After that you want something else. So that's because you always feel inadequate. So you are seeking adequacy. But without knowing that, you think just adding a few things here and there, I will become adequate. Okay. So that is how all the pursuits are. Okay. Without recognizing that you are actually seeking freedom from sense of becoming. Because you want to become something else. Because you analyze your situation, you see that you are uncomfortable what you are. For whatever reasons. You lack this, lack that, you lack some relationship, your friendship, you lack some wealth. So you think you can acquire, so that means you want to change your environment, ecosystem, so that you can become comfortable. You keep on changing, it doesn't change, it changes, but it doesn't give the effect you want, because you have seen so many years you have lived. Have you ever been in a state where other than momentary happiness, you feel completely satisfied? No, right? It's not possible. So that is what is called Pariksha Lokan. So the person who analyzes all the pursuits comes to a conclusion that Nasti Akritaha Kritena. If I have to be free, either I should already be a free person, right? But if I am not a totally free person, then by accumulating few things here and there, I am not going to become secure and happy and be free. So once they have analyzed this, then the person starts the pursuit. Okay. That is why here also Arjuna has figured out that none of this is going to give him the freedom. Then he surrenders to Bhagavan and says, make me free. Okay. Then Gita starts. That is how the whole Shastra starts. Now this Brahma Vidya. So we have to come, because we need to give all this introduction before getting into the 6th chapter, right? Otherwise it will become difficult to understand. So what is this Brahma Vidya? So Brahma is a word which comes from the root called Brihi, Vriddhav, means large. So when you say large is typically used with as an adjective. So I can say a large laptop, a large hall, okay, a large house. But here it is used as a noun. Vriddhav means the one that is large. That means it is infinite. Okay, that which is limitless is called Brahma, which is unrestricted by time, by space and object. If there is nothing other than it, in terms of objects, in terms of time, in space, it is called Brahma. Okay, that is the word. Now, like we saw yesterday, if Brahma is all that is here, then I should also be Brahma only. Now, so that Jnanam is called Brahma Vidya. Okay, so it needs to be shown to you. Okay, the vision has to be provided so that you recognize that I am Brahma. It is not a matter for belief. We saw yesterday itself. Right? It is a thing for understanding. So this Brahman is what is to be recognized. It's called a vision. That's called a cognitive knowledge is the word Swamiji uses. So it is, see why we use the word cognitive knowledge. Let's say this is remote, right? It is an objective knowledge. So I am able to objectify and know. Okay, so this is called sakara vritti. In Sanskrit we say there is a vritti which happens, change, a process which happens in my mind in the form of this remote, and then the remote recognition has happened. Now let's say this is a mic. Same thing happens. Now anything I objectify, there is a change of process which happens in my mind that this is an object and that knowledge takes place. But when the object is me, when the subject and object are same, I cannot objectify it. Okay, so therefore it is not called a pratyaksha jnana. This is a pratyaksha jnana. Aksham means I. Pratyaksham means it's in front of my eyes. But there is another type of knowledge which is, let's say, about Swarga, heaven. That is called a paroksha jnana because you are not seeing it. Somebody told there is heaven. Nobody, I don't know if anybody has gone and come back. Okay. But it is a belief, right? That is called paroksha jnana. Now this Atma, you can't say it is pratyaksha jnana because it's a subject, it's not an object. It is not available for objectification. In fact, it is one of the main things which is not available for objectification. Everything else is actually available for objectification. Even Swarga, if it was there, whenever I go there, I can objectify, right? But my Swarupa is not available for objectification because it is a subject. So I can't say that I get pratyaksha jnanam of my Swarupa. At the same time, because it is me, I can't say it is a paroksha jnanam, it is somewhere else. Okay. So it is neither pratyaksha nor paroksha, so we call it as aparoksha jnanam, non-paroksha jnanam. Okay. That's why we hear words like aparoksha anubhuti, all these kind of things. Okay. So that Atma, that vritti that takes place to gain the jnanam, that also you note down, is called as akandakara vritti. Okay. It is not in a form, akara means a shape or form. Okay. This Atma jnanam, because you are not objectifying and it is not limited also. Okay. So that vritti which, the process of change in your mind which makes you see the Atma is called akandakara vritti. Now this Brahma Jnanam is what is taught by this Vidya. In order for, so it's a very simple thing, we have said this is what is Brahma and then Shastra tries to show you this is what is Brahma. The problem is despite Shastra showing, you don't recognize it. Okay. Why is that? Yeah, that question is asked. Right? That is because there is a pratibandha, there is some obstruction. The obstruction, what can be the obstruction here? One is, of course, if there is no proper teacher, you won't get knowledge. Or if the means of knowledge is flawed, okay, like your eyes are having some problem, then you can't see. Okay. So but then Shastra, there is no problem, thousands of people have gained jnana. So then where is the issue? The issue is only in the seeker. Okay. And that is in the form of your own emotional and grasping situation. Okay, you are not able to pay attention. You are having emotional hindrances. Okay, technically that's what, because what is being falsified here is your own ego. Okay, your individual ego is falsified, and the Shastra is trying to show all that is here is only one Brahma. So what actually obstructs is your own ego only. So there needs to be an emotional maturity for you to be able to gain this jnana. Okay, so these are the only two things. That's why Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastra. Brahma Vidya is what shows you that this is Brahman. But there is another Yoga Shastra which is to prepare yourself for this jnana. Okay, that is what is called Karma Yoga. Okay. Now then there are people who say there are four paths to realization: Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and all that, which is all correct in a sense. In order to prepare you for this jnanam, there are many ways. Okay, somebody gains preparedness through some Nadopasana. Someone gains preparedness through doing puja and upasana and all that. So there is a preparation. So the preparation comes through many ways. Okay, and all of them are actually called Karma Yoga only. Even though we say Bhakti and all that, a Karma Yoga cannot be done without Bhakti. Because Karma Yoga itself means what? We will talk about Karma Yoga in detail, but Karma Yoga means recognizing Ishvara as the Niyati Okay, and whatever benefits, fruits come out of an action, you take it as a Ishvara Prasada. Because you have no control, right? So Bhagavan himself says, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma paleshu. When you are crossing the road, this is a typical example, right? There is no guarantee that you will end up on the other side of the road. You can only make an effort. Okay, either you will cross properly or you can have a problem or you will stay here itself. So we say kartum akartum anyata kartum shakyam and all that, and the benefit of any action can be commensurate to the action, less than the action you have given, more benefit, anything can happen, right? That means it is all in the hands of Ishvara only. So recognizing that fact and then just doing your duty is what is called karma yoga. That means what you are recognizing Ishvara. In everything you do, you are recognizing Ishvara. When you are recognizing Ishvara as the samashti niyati, that is what is bhakti. The whole bhakti yoga Bhagavan is talking about, the bhakti is recognizing Ishvara as everything. I am here because there is Ishvara. Once you recognize that, that is bhakti, right? That is what is relating. See, all other bhaktis are some kind of expression of that bhakti. So they talk about sakyam and all those kind of bhakti, right? These are providing certain structure to how you can relate to Bhagavan. Okay? But as such, bhakti is recognizing the samashti swarupa of Ishvara. Without that, there is no karma yoga possible. Okay? So technically, whether you do nadopasana, whether you do puja, or you do chanting, or you do bhajans, it is all same karma yoga only. But how does one gain moksha? Only through this Brahma Vidya or Jnana. Because moksha is not possible if you are not already mukta. Because see, suppose you are not already an infinite being. Then suppose you are a finite being, you accumulate a few things, okay, and you become big. But you can all what was accumulated in time also goes away in time. Okay, nothing which came in time, if you see your world experience, right? Anything which comes within time will also go in time. Samyogaha viyoganta. In the Ramayana it is said, whenever there is your connection with somebody, dissociation also happens. With anything, whether it is objects or relationships or even this body, right? It came in time, it is going to go away in time. This is a very simple fact, everybody knows that. So that means, if you want to be infinite, complete person, either you are already complete and you don't know it, or it is impossible to achieve it. Okay. Shastra says you are already complete. Okay. And it says, I will show you how you are, all that is here. So the moksha is possible only then through what? By knowing that you are complete. That is the only way you can gain moksha. That's why Shastra says, Jnana deva kaivalyam. Only by knowing that you are the full, you actually get liberated. So if you are already full, why don't ask me how you can get liberated? Because the difference is having the knowledge or not. Okay. So this is a standard story that Adi Shankaracharya himself says. I think I told in the previous camp also. This is Dasamo Nashtaha, one story is there. He talks about it in Taittiriya Upanishad. For those who haven't heard, I will repeat it. So there is a Paramartha Guru. He has some disciples. Okay. There are many Paramartha Guru stories. One of the stories is this one, which Adi Shankaracharya himself quotes in Taittiriya Upanishad, okay, Bhashya. So he has 10 disciples, okay. So they are all going one day for a excursion, okay. So the Guru is on this side of Ganges, in Lanka, in Varanasi, okay. Then the Ramnagar is on the other side, which is where the king's fort and all is there. So these people want to go to the fort on that day, just to go around and find out how it is, enjoy and come back. So Guru says, good, okay. But all these 10 guys are little dull people, okay. That is the thing. All this, they are mandabuddhi, okay. So all these 10 people, he says, carefully cross the Ganges, okay. Make sure that all of you are on the other side. So they start swimming, they go to the other side. Okay, then they remember, okay, Guru has said all 10 has to be there, so let's count. So one guy starts counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where is the 10th guy? Then he was worried. He said, other guy says, no, you are not counting properly, let me count. He counts again 9. So all of them keep counting, there are only 9 and they are all crying. Okay. They are sitting and crying, the 10th guy is lost, we should not have done this, Guru already told, be careful, blah, blah, blah. They go on crying. Okay. So now is the dukkha real or not? Even though the problem is not true, the dukkha, sorrow for them is real. Now they need moksha from this. Okay. So then one guy comes. He is like the guru. He comes. He sees these guys are all crying. Okay. Why? Because the 10th guy is lost. And he sees there are 10 guys. Okay. He knows there is no problem. So the guru actually knows there is no samsara because he is a jnani. No, but still now he has a choice. He can walk away. There is no actual problem. So he doesn't need to help them. No. If really the 10th guy is died, he can, or if he is somewhere lost in the water, he can try and save and all that. But here there is no real problem. Unnecessarily they are crying. So the guru can walk away. Okay. But he doesn't do that. Despite seeing no problem, the guru comes to help. That's why he is called, generally guru is called Ahaituka Daya Sindhu, is the word used. Without any hetu. Because he doesn't see a reason. Without a reason to help, the guru helps. Okay, so that is why the daya is told for guru. Okay. Now this guru comes. He can say, oh, 10th guy is here only and go away. But he doesn't do that. Then he needs to teach. How is the 10th guy there? Okay, so then he takes the finger, say, you count like how I am teaching you. That is what we call as prakriya, methodology of teaching. The Shastra takes you 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 and you are the 10th guy, right? So it reveals to you through a methodology that as though lost the Brahma is now gained. So whether the moksha was gained or it wasn't gained. So the person whom he is struggling, the moksha has been gained because so far he was crying, there is no 10th guy. Even though he was already there, but he now has gained. That is why the moksha, even though we say you are already mukta, but until you know it, you don't have it, right? Therefore, Atmaiva, in this chapter itself, Bhagavan is going to say, Atmaiva Atmano Bandhuhu, Atmaiva Ripuhu Atmanaha. One is one's own friend, Atma is one's own friend, and Atma is one's own enemy also. So Swamiji translates it, the understood Atma is one's friend. The ununderstood Atma is one's enemy because it can create so many complications for you. Your own self is creating so much of complications for you to live. But once you have understood that you are Purna Swarupa, then now nothing is a friend like it. Okay, so that is how this that verse Swamiji interprets. So now coming to the context of this Dhyana Yoga, now that we have understood the background, right? So this is the Jnana. Now in order for this Karma Yoga, so Bhagavan talks, so we don't have time to cover all 5 chapters, but second, third, fourth, he talks a lot on Karma Yoga. In fact, second he talks about Jnanam, then Karma Yoga, and also the Lakshana of a Jnani. And then third chapter onwards, he starts talking about Karma Yoga. And fifth, he talks about Sannyasi. Okay. Lavante Brahmananmanam, Rishayaha, Kshina Kalmashaha, Chinnadvaitaha, Yatatmanaha, Sarvabhuta Hiterataha, and all that he keeps talking. And then he introduces one verse, 27th verse, Parshan Kritva Bahirbhakyan, Chakshuschaivantare Bhruvoho, Pranapano Samau Kritva, Nasabhyantaracharinau, Yatendriya Manobuddhi, Munirmokshaparayanaha, Vigadecha Bhayakrodaha, Yaha Sada Muktayeva Saha. These 2 verses he introduces. And this entire 6th chapter is considered as elaboration of these 2 verses. That's how Adi Shankaracharya takes. Okay. What does these 2 verses say? In fact, in the meditation also I spoke about it. Sparshan Kritva Bahihi Bhakya. Sparshan means Sprishyade iti Sparsha. All the objects that come in your experience, like sound, touch and all that, right? The 5 senses bring in certain things to you. And every experience is a product of these 5 sensory perceptions, right? And then your emotions and other things which go with it. Okay. Now he says, keep these things outside. Sparshan, whatever is external to you. Bahihi, Bhakyan Kritva, Bahishkritva. Bahishkara we have heard, right? So basically giving them out. Then he says, Chakshush, Bhruvoho Antare, Chakshuhu Kritva. So bringing your attention in between your eyebrows means close your eyes and focusing on it. Pranapano samogritva, balancing your breathing. What kind of pranapana? Nasa abhyantara charinam, the breath which goes through your mouth. Yata indriya manobuddhihi, the one who has controlled mind, buddhi and all that. Munihi moksha parayanaha, the one who is focused on moksha. Vigata icha bhaya krodha, who is bereft of all the likes and dislikes and all that. Whoever is in this kind of a state, mukta eva saha, that kind of person is liberated. Okay. Now this alone, till here he was talking about karma yoga. Now suddenly he is talking about a technique of how to do upasana, right? You sit down, you just get out of all your anxieties and all that, focus on this Brahman, so you will get liberated. Okay, so that is how he introduces. Now the next chapter is fully, he gives step by steps how you have to do this Dhyana. Okay. And the last verse of previous chapter also is very important. He completes the chapter saying, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam shanti vrichyati. Okay. So through this meditation, what are you going to know? He says, no, you have to know me. Okay. Who am I? Loka maheshwaram, Maha Ishvara, the one who is the Lord of the whole Jagat. Yajna tapasam bhoktaram, whatever activities you do, the benefit goes to me. Okay. I am the consumer of the effect of all that is happening here. Sarva bhutanam suhridam, who is the one who gives, happiness and whatever is needed for all beings. That kind of a me, nyatva shanti vrichyati. So Ishvara, so the one who gains me, knows me, gains shanti. Nyatva mam shanti vrichyati. By knowing something else, I cannot become a happy person, right? So that means that Ishvara being me, recognizing that I am all that is here, then I rest in that Ishvara. That is the Shanti. So here we will go into 6th chapter, but in this 3 verses is the essence of what is going to be covered in the 6th chapter. How we are going to do, what are we going to know about through that meditation. What are we going to know is the Ishvara, Lordship. We are not talking about some technique, Sudarshanati, I mean, nothing against any of those things, which is purely some mental balancing or silencing and all that, right? That is not what is the objective of the Dhyana Yoga here. It is realizing the Ishvara itself. So that is the context of the 6th chapter. Now let's start with the verses. Anashrita karma balam karyam karma karoti yaha saha sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnihi na cha akriyaha. Okay. Let me give the vigraha for this. Anvaya and then we look at each of the words. यहा कर्मफलम अनाश्रितः कार्यं कर्म करोति सः सन्यासी च योगी च न निरग्निः न च अक्रियः. कर्मफलम अनाश्रितः, यहा means the one, okay, whoever. कर्मफलम अनाश्रितः सन्तः, without कर्मफलम means result of action. Anashritaha, not depending on the results of action. Karyam, what needs to be done, what the person is given to do. That kind of a karma, action, karoti, the one who performs. Saha, that person, sannyasi cha, he is a sannyasi. And yogi cha, the one who is collected. Yogi, which means to be collected together. Karma yogi also is a yogi, but yogi is a broader word. Okay. He is not just a sannyasi, but he is also a collected person, right? Na niragnihi na cha akriyaha. In fact, this chapter is going to end saying that yogi bhava. Okay, you become a yogi. Becoming a sannyasi is not that important, but becoming a yogi is important. So there are 2 types of sannyasa we talked about, right? Vividisha sannyasa and Vidvat sannyasa. We'll talk about sannyasa now. Okay. So the sannyasa, there is a varnashrama. We know about varnashrama. Varna and ashrama is what was proposed for the society by the Shastra. Varna is classification based on Guna Veda. Okay, Vibhaga was done. The Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Guna, everything is classified using these three gunas, including the people, the food you eat, the work you do, the dhanam you do, the activities you do. Bhagavan is going to talk about in all these things how there is a guna vibhaga is there. Okay, so based on the person one's guna, something. So see, everyone needs to get liberated. The whole society was structured for everyone to gain jnana. So nobody should be left out. But then for everyone to gain this jnana, everyone needs to grow, right? So for a person who is a very active person, okay, who is a Rajasic person, to actually grow, the work that that person has to do will not be same as a person who is already a Sattvic person. Okay, suppose a person is already a peaceful and quiet and composed person. What has to be given to that person? You can't ask that person to start jogging and go and do a fight and do this, right? But whereas a person who is extremely active, who is like all the time very restless, for that person you can't say you go and sit and meditate. That won't work. Okay, the person is so you have to give different kind of activities based on the composition of the persons. Now whether it should be through birth or not is another question that is typically debated. But at least it is understood that depending on your nature you should be given something. So with these things in mind, a Varna Dharma was created. So we will not talk a lot on that. Come to Ashrama Dharma. So for each of these Varna, 4 ashramas were given: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. Why Sannyasa was given is because, see, in those days, whatever Veda says, people had to follow. Okay, and they were all, see, there were Itihasas, Puranas and other things which were also taught to people, and inherently a Dharma attitude was there. So instead of policing using external police, what you do is you imbibe the dharma within the minds of the people. So their own minds become the police. So you don't need external police as much. So that's why whole Mahabharata is about right and wrong only. The entire thing, Veda Vyasa creates situations which are conflict inducing situations, right? And then says what is right and wrong. Okay. For a person, for a given situation. That is Vyasa's. In fact, Vyasa himself comes in Mahabharata. Okay. So wherever the author has to give his view, he will come as a character and then say this is my view. Okay. So that it's a way of presenting it. Okay. In fact, my view on Mahabharata is all the original characters, right, all the way from Shantanu to Bhishma and all, are shown as Vyasa's children. Okay, if you see. That is because he is saying these are my creation. Okay, whether so though we call it Itihasa, but my thinking is he is basically saying these are my characters. Okay, I am creating them. So he also comes and says, okay, this is the situation. Now what should be done in this situation, right? Because dharma is not black and white. No, even today the law, it is not say if it is so black and white you can just look at internet and take a decision. No, you can't do that. It is always very, very situation focused. That's why in Mahabharata, depending on the situation for that particular varna, for that particular person, whether this should be done or not. So he gives that to that level. Okay. So I don't know why I went to. So Varnashrama Dharma, right? So within that frame, now Veda has given certain duties. If you are a brahmachari, you have to do this. If you are a grihastha, and it also says Yavad Jivam Agnihotram Juhyat. As long as you live, you need to do Nitya Karma. Now the person has to do every day, a Brahmana has to do so much of things, Kshatriya has to do so many things. So, and if you don't do, you will gain Papa also, it is told. And why is all this being done? To prepare the person to become a jnani, right? To gain liberation. Now, at some point, Veda itself has to release the person from all this activity so that the person can focus on jnana. Okay. So, the 4th ashrama called sannyasa is created so that whenever somebody is ready, the person can be freed. So, Veda itself has to free. See, if Veda doesn't tell from this point you don't have to do this karma, this person being a dharmika, he will have guilt. He cannot give it up easily, right? So you from childhood, from 8 years when you started to go to your Gurukula, so like Sri Rama went, right? And then he was given certain activities. Let's say he has been doing it for 70 years. Suddenly he will not give it up, no, because he has got so much Shraddha in that. So Veda comes and says that, okay, if you are ready for it, you can give up and focus on Jnanam. Okay. That is why the ashrama was created. Now the sannyasa is generally we classify into two sannyasa, Vividisha sannyasa and Vidvat sannyasa. Vividisha means Veditum Icha, the desire to learn. Okay, the person is not yet learned, so he has a desire to learn, so he can take sannyasa. The other is Vidvat sannyasa, means while he was doing karma yoga and all that, he could have listened to some people and then he kind of gained that jnana. Now that he has a jnanam, he has no more ambition to do activity, whatever. He feels he can step out, okay, of the mad race, right, rat race. So he comes out, that is called Vidvat sannyasa. So these two kinds of sannyasas are described. Now this is called Vidivat sannyasa, okay, the Krama sannyasa. Now Bhagavan talks about a different sannyasa, okay. That sannyasa is whether you have taken Vidhi sannyasa or you are a brahmachari or you are a grihastha, whatever it is, if you have given up your kartrutva, the doership, that is the highest sannyasa, that is called jnana karma sannyasa. Means by knowledge, if you have given up the sense that I am the doer, then you have already given up. You don't have to physically, whether you are physically doing it or not, whether you have physically given up or not, you are still a sannyasi because you have given up the doership. Guna guneshu vartante. The things just happen like we saw in the meditation today, right? So things are just going on, right? I am nirguna, that kind of jnana, like Bhagavan himself, right? He is a jnani, but he was riding chariot for Arjuna, right? And he talks about Janaka and all these people who are jnanis, who still did activities loka sangrahameva. So loka sangrahartam, so that people follow. See, people follow only great people. Okay, somebody is great. Whatever yajyadajarati shreshtaha taddadeva itaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokaha tadanuvartade. Bhagavan himself says, when somebody is perceived as a great person, whatever that person does, others follow. Now, if this person is a jnani and he is already seen and looked upon as somebody who is ideal for the world, then it is good that person continues that, some dharma activity, so that others follow that. So with that in mind, he is not disturbed. See, a jnani, once he is a jnani, there is no problem. Adi Shankaracharya went all around the country. He was a jnani. He also gave around Bhashya, everything. He was not disturbed by any of those things, right? Bhagavan was into the thick of the war. So a jnani doesn't bother. It depends on what he or she is called upon to do. By we call Anyecha Prarabdha. So the people around the jnani, their Prarabdha, whatever it is, that influences jnani to do. Because jnani himself doesn't have Prarabdha. Because jnani is already mukta. So now you can't say I have little bit of this karma left, still I am a jnani, right? That is not possible. So why would a jnani do activity? Because for others, if people around see, this avatar also happens like that only. You will ask a question, why, see there is so, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati, abhyutanam adharmasya atmanam shijamyam, Bhagavan has said, whenever there is all adharma there, I will come. Immediate question will come to our mind, what less adharma is there today? The world is full of adharma only, right? So why has Bhagavan not come? So it is generally right. See, we need to do prarthana only. See, Bhagavan also doesn't by his own volition take a decision today, okay, now enough adharma has come, so let's go. Okay, it doesn't. So the so it has to go to such an extent that we do prarthana. So in Puranas and all, before any avatara happens, right, all these devas and the rishis and all will go to Vaikuntha, okay, and then say Bhagavan, so there is so much of adharma which has come, so this Ravaneshwara is creating problems, so please come and all that. That is just to show that only through this prarthana, so when you do this collective prayer, by that prarabdha only Bhagavan comes, okay. So that is called Anyecha Prarabdha. So people have to actually create that punya so that the avatara can take place. Okay, that is the idea. Okay, so now let's now come to sannyasa. Yeah, so that is called the jnana karma sannyasa. Okay, that kind of a sannyasa is what Bhagavan talks about. Now come to this. Anashritaha karma balam karyam karma karoti. This is what is called karma yoga. Okay, he spoke about karma yoga in many chapters. He is linking it because, like I already said yesterday, only a person, see, meditative mind you cannot create by volition. Okay, you can sit and say I will meditate, but your mind won't cooperate. Right? We all know that. Now it has to happen. In order for that to happen, your free will alone is not enough. So, because what is obstructing your meditation, your meditating mind is your raga dvesha, likes and dislikes, and the impact of that, which is called vasana. So, your vasana and raga dvesha is what is the problem. So, vasana and raga dvesha cannot be eliminated by meditation. So, you need to do karma yoga. So, the karma yoga gives you a field to actually act. Okay, it gives, that's why grihastha ashrama is considered as the backbone. Because that is giving you the field where you can mature. Okay, living a life of grihastha should actually make you mature. It should. Because it depends on how we live, right? Again, because it gives you context to operate, right? So, see, if you keep on fighting and just going on with that, then obviously there is no growth, right? But it gives you a situation where you can grow. So it gives you a situation where your raga dvesha can be expressed. So there will be situations of conflict, like in Mahabharata, right? So you have first an inner conflict. When you are doing an action, every action there are always three things. So you can do in alignment to dharma, you can go against dharma also, or you don't do at all, right? Also anything is possible. Now, if you choose whether to do it aligned to dharma, see, if what you are going to do is aligned to dharma, there is no issue. Okay, you will just do it. But your likes, if it is not aligned to dharma, if your dislike is aligned to dharma, then your choice comes into picture. That is when you have to choose. Now, what do you choose? What you choose will depend on what is your goal. Okay. So if your goal is you just want some immediate happiness, you don't bother about anything, then obviously you will go with your likes and dislikes. But if you are a mature person who has at least has some viveka, that I value the outcome more than these immediate benefits, then you choose dharma. So when you choose dharma, what is the advantage? You have no conflict. Right? You may have conflict at the time of choosing, but when you are acting, at that time there is no conflict when you are doing the action. After the action also you don't have conflict. You have a self-satisfaction that you have gone with dharma, right? So when you, therefore that's why Swamiji talks about value of values. The values are the things that you should do. Do you really have a value for them? Okay, the value for them is what comes out of it is where you focus on, right? So if you focus on dharma and align to it, then you avoid your, so that's why I am saying it's a field where the grihasthasrama is where you actually get to act. You have a situation where there is dharma, likes and dislikes, and then the more and more you choose dharma, slowly your likes and dislikes fade away. It gives up. So that is the only way you can actually get to a meditative state. That's why Bhagavan introduces this chapter by talking about karma yoga. That is the preparedness. Okay, that's why people have this question. No? Even in the introduction, someone was saying that we are not able to balance, creating the equilibrium. So we try to create the equilibrium by sitting in meditation. But actually, it should happen before meditation itself. Then only that is where the karma yoga is very important. So we can, like I said, karma yoga can be through bhakti, through whatever, right? Chanting or through nadopasana. Because people have this, some people nowadays they say, no, I do bhajan all the time. Nama is the greatest savior. There are things like that people say, which is all correct. But then they don't understand the context in which it is told, right? So it is in the context of karma yoga. So, but once you are mature, then you have to still seek jnana only. The nama is not going to make you mukta purusha, right? So, anashritaha karma balam karyam karma karotiyaha. So the karma phalam anashrita. Another translation issue comes. People say without expecting results, you do action. That is karma yoga. That is not right. Without expecting action, you can't do. See, suppose I lift this remote and then put it. I have to expect that it will fall down. No. Without expecting result, I can't do an action. So it's not expecting result. But what is implied there is you take karma phala as Ishvara Prasada. Whatever comes. Because truth is also it is Ishvara Prasada only, like we said. You have no control on phala. Only Bhagavan has to give. So in Bhajagovindam it is said, no artham anartham bhavaya nityam nasti sukas tatas sukaleshaha nityam. No, not that one. There is yellabate nija karmopatam vittam tena vinode chittam, right? So the vittam is what is based on nija karma. Okay, whatever is karma only will give you what you get. So what you have to enjoy in this life is determined by the karma you have done. That is the idea, right? So that's why some people work slog for 20 hours a day, but they don't get any money. Someone without doing anything for more than 2 hours gets so much, right? So it all is punya phala only, some karma only. How else you will explain all this? So the point is, what comes is Ishvara Prasada. Okay, so once you take it that way, then your raga dvesha goes down. That's the idea. Anashritaha karma balam. Karyam karma. What should be done only you should do. See, I will say anashritaha karma balam, let me go and steal somebody's house. I can't say that. No, see, next house I will go and rob. Okay, whatever karma phala comes, I am happy. Okay, if he has 10,000 rupees, I am happy. If he likes 2 crores also, so that is not right. So there, the dharma also, alignment is important. Okay, it's not just karma phala manashritaha, but karyam karma. What needs to be done by you only you should do. You cannot do something which is not righteous. And in those days context, karyam karma is in you, according to your varnashrama dharma. What should be done by you only you should do. Arjuna says, instead of doing this war, I can go and beg, right? And further Bhashyakara says, begging is not the duty of a king. Only Brahmana can beg or Brahmachari can beg. So he interprets it, he wanted to do another varna's activity. So it is an adharma. So Arjuna was looking at doing an adharma activity. That's how Shankaracharya interprets that. Okay, so karyam karma in the context of those days do only what is to be done in varnashrama dharma and only do nitya naimittika karma. Don't do kamya karma also. Okay, so anashritaha karma balam. So when you are doing kamya karma, then you are looking at your benefit only, right? So whereas in nitya naimittika karma, you do only action which should be done. So just do what has to be done. That's how we have to interpret in today's world. If you are a father, what is expected of you, do. Okay. Along with it, you do some japa, whatever to be done. See, that's how we have to interpret today. No, I can't say varnashrama dharma, you have to follow today. So we have to do some puja, whatever is needed. So that doesn't. See, the other problem which comes is, if I do only laukika activities, like as a father, I will take my children to school. Am I fully karma yogi? No, Ishvara recognition has to come, right? Otherwise, there is no karma yoga. It's not only just doing activity. You are doing activity with the Ishvara niyati in mind. And as Ishvara Prasada only you have to take. So that means the relating to Ishvara has to be kept up. That's why I am saying we have to do at least a certain prayer and other stuff every day. And have the recognition of Ishvara when you are doing the laukika activities. That becomes your karma yoga. Okay, that's how in today's context we need to adopt. So anashritaha karma palam karyam karma karotiyaha saha sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnihi na cha kriyaha. This niragnihi, like we were saying, right, the krama sannyasa. In krama sannyasa, the grihastha gives up agni. Okay. Agni means the homa and havana and all that. So every day they have to do certain yagas and all that. In the Nitya Karma also they have to do Avasanam and stuff like that, and there is also Naimittika, like Shraddha and other stuff, everything. So yes, sannyasi is typically cut off from everything. Okay. All the grihastha duties are freed from. In fact, the sannyasi does Ashta Shraddha. Okay. he does the Shraddha for 7 of his previous generation and himself or herself, whatever, right? And the person is like as though gone. This person is gone. So a new person is born now. Okay? And that person is given a new name, some Ananda Saraswati, and then new horoscope. Everything is new. In fact, that person comes without dress and a new dress is also given. So it's like a new born. You are born for this jnana. That's why the saffron color is given. So it is like you are burning your all the things away by this jnana, right? Jnanagni sarvakarmani vasvasat krute, right? So it's the jnanam that is, the knowledge is being pursued, and that is sannyasa. Okay, so it's called niragnihi. After sannyasa, the person can't use agni, they don't even cook. Okay. So niragnihi nacha akriya. Akriya also, he doesn't do anything other than. So in fact, there is one chapter fully Bhagavan talks about sannyasa lakshana, right? How he should eat, what is, all that is all spoken about, right? The person only to keep the body, whatever is necessary, they eat, okay? And they are non-competitors. Sannyasis, they don't compete, even with insects. That's why in Chaturmasya they don't walk, because that is the time after rains the insects come out, or before rain, start of rain or whatever, right? So when you walk, you have to step on it. So they don't walk. So they remain in a place for that for 2 months, right? And they, in fact, some of the sannyasis, they don't eat plucking fruits and all those things. There were sannyasis who will eat only the fallen leaves. So all that is there. There is a big niyati of how so they are non-competitors and they provide abhaya for all life forms. Because in Gita itself it says, no, Bhagavan talks about how one should look everybody's welfare and all that. That is a sannyasa lakshana. So he is akriyaha. Niragnihi nacha akriyaha. That person, not only the niragni akriyaha, the person who is doing things without karma phalashraya, that person is not only a sannyasi, but he is a yogi also. He is a collected person. Okay? He is not scattered by likes and dislikes. I want this, I don't want this. So he is the one who is both yogi and sannyasi. Okay, so that's how he links this to karma yoga. Okay, we'll go to the next verse. We have to rush it only because we have 35 verses or something, right? We have only 6 days. Yam sanyasamiti prahu.
Yam sanyasamiti prahu.
Yogam tam vidhi pandava.
Yogam tam vidhi pandava.
Nahya sanyasta sankalpaha.
Nahya sanyasta sankalpaha.
Yogi bhavati kaschana.
Yogi bhavati kaschana.
Hey Pandava, yam sanyasamiti prahu tam yogam iti vidhi. He kaschana asanyasta sankalpaha yogi na bhavati. Okay. Hey Pandava, Panduputra, okay, yam, that which is called as sannyasa. Sanyasamiti prahu, where people or great men talk about as sannyasa, that is nothing but yogam only. Yogam tam vidhi. Okay. That's why I said Bhagavan talks about sannyasa from kartrutva tyaga. Okay, giving up the doership. Okay, we'll talk about in detail in the next session. So the doership, enjoyership. Okay, all this is what is to be understood. Yogam vidhi kaschana asanyasta sankalpaha yogi namavati. The one who has not given up the desire, even though he can have a saffron robe, but that person doesn't become a yogi. So you can become collected person only you have given up the doership. That is the idea. So we will see in the next session. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Dachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.